Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day number 6 of our latest custom mail-in tournament. Let's meet the first group that shall start us off. We have Hot Wheels boys, Rob, Mr. Dark, and Tabo, and the race begins. And already Rob is falling quickly behind, while the other three are staying relatively even. But going around that first split, it looks like Tabo might have a slight lead, but here comes Dark. And now he's got the lead, and look at him going faster and faster, trying to get that gap as big as possible. And he started off a little slower than Tabo, but now he's flying right towards the finish line, and he gets the first victory, finishing at 15.75. So far, the fastest time is still held by Dusty Miles, who has a 15.02 under their belt. And oh, it looks like we have someone who not only, I believe they finished, but not in the most stylistic way. Actually, I don't see them coming across the finish line. It looks like they must have flown off the track at some point and landed upside down. That could be a very major injury. So Hot Wheels boys starts off in a bad position in more ways than one. That may have given an opening to Rob that he so desperately needed, because look at this, at the start of this race as well, he already loses some speed when compared to the other three. But as the lanes split and divide, it is Dark and Tabo fighting for that first place position, but Hot Wheels boys is hot on their trail. Looks like he's at least able to stay on the track this time. I'm not sure what caused him to fly off before. For now, though, it is Dark who will get a second win. Tabo wasn't too far behind there. And there comes Rob. But what? I am not sure what's going on with Hot Wheels boys today. It looks like he starts off strong and then somehow he dislodges himself from the track and ends up in a less than favorable position, either on his side or upside down. Either way, that is 2 non-finishes already. He is, unfortunately, pretty much out at this point. The other 3 racers are now just fighting for the 2 spots to move on. And here we go into race number 3. History is starting to repeat itself a little bit, but it looks like Dark is able to get a slight edge over the other 2 that he's been competing with so far. The lanes merge again, and it looks like Tabo was able to pass up Hot Wheels boys. But Mr. Dark has very little competition right now, as Tabo has fallen a decent distance back. And Mr. Dark is getting a sweep so far. He just needs one more to get that full sweep in this group. And here comes Rob again. What is going on with Hot Wheels boys? This will be 3 non-finishes already. I'm wondering if Hot Wheels boys is a little top heavy, because it looks like they end up on their sides at the very least right after a turn. But the fact that this kind of thing has happened 3 separate times definitely begs a question as to what ultimately causes it. But now Mr. Dark is already on their way to the finals. Tabo is in a favorable position to join him. But Rob, so far, has been a bit lucky considering Hot Wheels boys, who normally has a decent-sized lead over them, ends up not finishing. In fact, I think I saw Hot Wheels boys just get stuck or something there, because he just seemed to vanish off the camera. Now it's just Mr. Dark and Tabo again. Well, Mr. Dark already is heading towards the finish. Tabo nowhere in sight, and he gets a sweep. We've already gotten a decent amount of people who've gotten sweeps so far, and now Dark is among them. Yeah, look at this. Upside down twice, on their side twice, and once again it is right after a turn. A very unfortunate experience for Hot Wheels boys. But I believe Mr. Dark and Tabo will progress to the finals today. So let's see who in Group 2 will join them. And in that second group we have Lewis, Jesse the Taurus, Flamethrower, and Sam Hall. As we begin, I was about to say they were all staying relatively close. But as they got to the first curve, they definitely started splitting up a bit. And now we have one racer alone. I'm trying to remember which one that is. The names don't stay up for very long, but I will be able to name them in just a second. But they do grab the win. They do finish pretty close to our speed record. They were just off by about 1/10 of a second or so. But at least all four finished this time. And it was Sam Hall who got the win, followed closely behind by Flamethrower. Meanwhile, Jesse the Taurus in third and Lewis in fourth. And now Sam Hall has that lead. And it looks like, based on how they're starting already, he's going to be able to hold on to it as long as he can stay on his wheels and keep up that speed. Around the curve he goes, and no one is anywhere near them. Around the last turn, down the hill, into the straightaway, and they get a second victory. And they are putting up quite the impressive time. Some racers, they're lucky if they even break 16 seconds, but some other racers, especially Dusty, have been close to breaking 15 seconds. But our Flamethrower friend finishes in second again. It looks like everyone will have finished in the same positions as they did in the first race. So now we have two left for this group. Sam Hall is already one race away, or one win away, I should say, from already progressing to the next phase. And look at this, he gets an early start, and so far, once he's grabbed that lead, he has not lost it. Flamethrower is a little bit closer behind him this time around, but Sam Hall is not making it any short of a challenge. And they go around the final turn, down the hill, into the straightaway, yet again grabbing another win. A little bit slower this time when compared to their other finishes. But Lewis actually grabbed third place this time. But you could see even then how far behind they were, because Sam Hall and Flamethrower were already approaching the finish line, but you could still see them before the last turn. That's how big the gap could get. But Sam Hall is already progressing to the next round, so there's only one spot to fill for today's finals. And as this race begins, they are actually a little bit closer together. But look at this, Sam Hall going around the curve, launches himself, and he once again leaves everybody in the dust. Going around the straightaway, around the curve, down the hill, heading towards the finish line, and no one's going to stop him. And we have another sweep among the roster. Oh, look at this, a little bit of a collision towards the end between Lewis and Taurus. And it did not end well for Taurus. But take a look at that again. Because the first two finishers, it was pretty clean. But Lewis was trying to find a way around the Taurus, who gave a nose block, but it ultimately backfired as they got spun around and did not finish. But it will be Sam Hall and Flamethrower moving on to the final round for today. Now here we go, Sam Hall, Tabo, Mr. Dark, and Flamethrower. Based on times alone, I'd say the biggest threat currently between these four is Sam Hall, because he got pretty close a couple times to breaking the speed record. And look at this, he already has that lead. But Mr. Dark, who is ahead of the competition in the other group, is looking to make something happen, but he is struggling to do so, as Sam Hall is looking to stay undefeated, and so far is. And he will get the first win of the final group for today. And he finishes with a 15.51. Again, that's a little bit slower than some of his faster times that we've seen. That got pretty close to the 15.02 record. Now into race number 2. Flamethrower has a little bit more work this time around as he's going up against Mr. Dark here. And they are staying side by side for the moment, but Sam Hall has a slight edge over both of them. But it's not as big as this time. Look at this flamethrower is actually looking to pass on Mr. Dark. I'm not sure, it doesn't look like he did. But everything could change in this straightaway. They are fighting for that second place position. But at the last moment, Mr. Dark was able to pull off a successful nose block. Take a look at this. They were going neck and neck, and Sam Hall saw him coming and stopped him in his tracks. Albeit not literally, but enough to stop him from passing him. Which puts Mr. Dark in a bit of a better position when it comes to his chances to progress. Meanwhile, Sam Hall is 2 races away from being our second racer that has not lost a race yet, the other being the aforementioned Dusty Miles. And it looks like these 3 are actually fighting a little bit harder this time, but as they went around that bend, Sam Hall got another decent-sized lead. And as I mentioned earlier, once he gets those leads, he has not lost them. And that shall remain the case here as he gets another win. He is automatically moving on to the grand finals and now just 1 win away from joining Dusty Miles in the very small category of undefeated racers. Now everybody is on the edges of their seats to see if Sam Hall can pull this off. I am sure Mr. Dark, Flamethrower, and Table will not make it easy for him. In fact, look at this. Mr. Dark actually had a slightly better start when compared to Sam, but then Sam grabs that lead back. But it's Flamethrower who is actually giving him some contention right now and is hot on his tail, trying to pass him, and it looks like he's going to do it. Yes, he will, and he has the inside. But then they both spin out. Sam Hall goes sideways, and he finishes in 3rd. So Dusty Miles shall remain the only undefeated racer. Sam Hall was very close. In fact, right there, he had an opportunity to keep that alive, and then he just could not get the speed he needed to get that final win. But he will still advance alongside Flamethrower. So another 2 spots have been filled, and we still have a few more to go. But now it looks like we have a grudge match going on, actually. Between Chewy Mandingo, Shababy, Wild Willie G, and Iceman. I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but it looks like it'll be in the format of a drag race. I'm not even sure who actually won that one. But it looks like there's quite the interesting finish line timer there. And it definitely was an absolute nail-biter. I'm not sure who got the win, though. They are giving it to both of them, actually. Wild Willie G and Iceman are declared to have finished at the same time. Are they going to do that again, or are they going to have a... Oh, no, we have a very distinct winner this time. I believe that was Wild Willie G, but I could be mixing him up with Iceman. Meanwhile, 3rd and 4th between Chewy Mandingo. I am just surprised by this going on. I was not expecting this. But it is Wild Willie G who got that win, while Chewy Mandingo and Shababy were very close. But here we go into race number 3. And it looks like it'll actually be Chewy Mandingo who gets the win this time. And I apologize, I have not been paying attention to the times, but just in case I get the speed record in this grudge match wrong, it'll at least will be mentioned in post, or in the comments, or in a future video, if needed. But yeah, another tie between Wild and Iceman. Even 1 tie is rare, but to see 2 is quite impressive. But now in this race here, Chewy Mandingo has a much more distinguishable lead and gets the win. And I'm not quite sure who grabbed 2nd that time. It looks like it was Wild Willie G, followed closely by Iceman, and then Shababy. So let's see if these victories will amount to anything. Wild Willie G got the overall win in terms of points. We'll see if that translates to anything in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.